Our second edition of the Superstar Scores is going to be about Roman Reigns. Now, of course, we need to take into account that this is not the full career retrospective kind of a thing as what we can do with a lot of the other people. So our opinions could change as much as tomorrow with SmackDown. We haven't watched that yet. We probably won't, but maybe that'll end up being a big thing. I would assume at the very least this whole road to WrestleMania is going to make a big difference, positively or negatively, on Roman Reigns. So it might be interesting if we can go back a couple months from now or something like that and do another one of these. Maybe, I don't know, it depends on if you guys want it, to see how Roman Reigns has changed since then. But we do have the time period that he has started wrestling in WWE until right now in February of 2015 that we can rate him on. So let's see how he compares. Same kind of lineup as the last time. We're doing the same, ranking abilities in the same way, same score, everything like that. So not going to explain all that as much now, but let's go to ring skills, athleticism, and psychology. I gave him a 7 on athleticism because I like his spear. I like his Superman punch. I love that fucking drop kick that he does on the ring apron. He's a pretty big guy, and he moves fast for somebody his size. There's people that are smaller than him that can't run around as much, and there's only, a couple other people that are about the same size as him that have that kind of flexibility. Undertaker's somebody that reminds me of that. Kane moves around really well. Big Show, to his credit, moves around really damn well for somebody his size. But Roman Reigns, for being a bigger guy, I like his athleticism. And something I wanted to point out was a lot of people give Bray Wyatt credibility for being flexible and stuff like that. I'd much rather watch half hour of Roman Reigns than Bray Wyatt. So he gets a 7 for me for that, and he gets a 6 for psychology because he's still learning a little bit. He's not quite on par with Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose, but that doesn't mean that he's bad at it. So he's learning. He'll get a little bit better. He was the weak link in the Shield, just being the strong guy. He didn't have to do as much, but he's doing pretty damn well for transitioning from the unbeatable type of strong guy to somebody who actually has to have a match.
Hold on a second. All right, well, I gotta argue something there. Don't let the past number of months fool you. All right, we all know Seth Rollins was the weak link in the Shield throughout that entire time.
I'm talking about for psychology.
Even for psychology, Seth Rollins didn't do anything. Like all of his moves and stuff he does now, he didn't do anything when he was in the Shield.
Psychology of putting a match together, I'm pretty confident that Roman Reigns got carried for that whole period. Seth Rollins was actually the best in that respect.
See, I would say Seth Rollins was the weak link when it came to what we thought the future was going to take. But
I always thought he was going to be the weakest in character.
Yeah, that's the weak link for Seth Rollins.
We thought that he was, I think what we described him as, we described him as the next Jeff Hardy or something like that.
Right, like the solid Intercontinental champion kind of a guy. But Roman Reigns, he was in the tag team for a reason because he hadn't gotten those skills yet. He's still not quite there, but when there was a match that revolved around Roman Reigns doing something, it was mostly him just beating somebody up at that point. So I still think that he's got some, stuff to work out and whatever, but he's doing a pretty good job of knowing when he can get beaten down and when he can get back up and stuff. And people aren't giving him as much credit right now, but I can still only really give him about a 6. So 6 and a 7 for me. What do you guys think? Athleticism and psychology, how does he fare in the ring?
I actually went ahead and gave him a 7 in athleticism too. I think he's the perfect size of what you need to be in the WWE. You see, we've got to a stage where the Clash of the Giants, that whole appeal's dead. But you still don't want to necessarily look like Daniel Bryan and look like you can't win a fight. So Roman Reigns is the perfect middleman between those sizes, and he just glides around the fucking ring because of that. He's very flexible, very fast, got a pretty good vertical leap too. So, all in all, Roman Reigns is just awesome as an athlete. And that fucking spear that he did to Big Show on Raw, like he fucking jumped halfway across the ramp to spear him. It was comical because of how much fucking distance he got on it. So yeah, 7 for athleticism. Psychology, he's above average, but he's still got a lot of grooming to go, and I think he's going to learn a lot. I think he learned as much as he could being protected in a tag team, and now he just needs to wrestle guys like your Randy Ortons, your John Cena's. Heck, wrestling Daniel Bryan one-on-one is going to help him a lot. So right now he's got a 6, but I suspect if we reviewed this same time next year, he'd be a 7 or 8.
What about you, Drew or Peyton?
I'll go. For athleticism, I also gave him a 7. You know, the Superman punch is perfect for him. You know, that little running start he gets. Oh, yep, that's cool. The spear, he gives the best spear in the company. He's definitely has one of the better spears they've had for a long time. Edge's spear was okay. It just felt weird. The only thing that made
Edge's spear was fucking awful.
I hated Edge's spear with his tiny little fucking shoulders. He never should have done a spear.
I know. The only thing I liked about it was he got so much speed on it, and when the right person sold it, it looked good. That was the only good thing about it.
Do you know what sold Edge's spear? It's after he did it, he'd do the hair flick back and the crazy face.
Yeah.
That's what sold the entire move.
Also, I'm not a fan of a Christian spear for the sole purpose that it only looks like it hurt because of his suntan body. Would look like it burn you if you touched him. And also, the dropkick is pretty cool, the one that Tony mentioned. People complain that he only has a few moves. Everyone only has a few moves in WWE. It's just that you have to call the rest on the spot.
It's the WWE style.
Yeah, it's that.
They do that on purpose.
Yeah. So, you know, and also for a guy his size, you know, he doesn't need to be a Daniel Bryan in any aspect, but, you know, for what he can do, he could do some pretty cool moves. So for that, I'll give him a 7. I bet during the next year he'll pull out some good things when he learns a bit more. And the same for psychology. I gave him a 6. He's above average, and honestly, a very good a match that everyone seemed to hate, and I'm the only one that liked, was this match against Orton at SummerSlam. I don't know why. I just really liked that match when I watch it back. But so I think from that match alone, you could tell that he's learning the psychology side of everything. It'll just take him time. And like Wayo said, a year from now, if we do another one of these, which I think we should do, is that he'll either be a 7 or 8. There's no way he can regress in those aspects. So he'll be a 7 and 6 at least in the future. No way he can lose it.
And Peyton, what do you think about athleticism and psychology?
Athleticism, this guy just has it all. He's got good size, he's got a good physique, he's got the muscle mass, his body in general, he's got a nice wide shoulder base, he's got
Jesus fucking Christ, Peyton.
I'm just saying, like, if Vince McMahon
he's got dreamy eyes,
genetically makes the perfect person that he wanted, Roman Reigns is it. He's got a good, even like his skin tone is like the perfect thing you could have fucking wanted. I'm fucking serious.
Christ.
No, think about it. This guy isn't too white. He isn't too Spanish. He's not black. Like, he's going to appeal to fucking everybody. This guy is like the perfect fucking package of what you want someone out there. The guy has an athletic background from football. He's got that Samoan blood in him, which he's just going to be fucking naturally athletic. The guy is a stud all around, and he shows that with everything he does. His power moves look extra impactful because of it. He gets lots of air whenever he has to do anything where he has to jump. And he does all this while wearing, like, what has to be one of the bulkiest and heaviest wrestling attires that anyone is wearing these days, which I think is something that some people tend to forget when they look at what he's wearing. He had, like, those metal fucking shits hanging off his back for a while. Thank God they got rid of that. But, like, damn. So for athleticism, I'm going to give him an 8. Psychology, he's come a long way. He's really come a long way. And I do think that he probably was, as far as like in-ring wrestling, he was at his worst when he first came up, obviously. I mean, if anyone has a different time than that, that'd be really weird. But he's worked so hard to get himself better. You know where he's really gotten himself to shine, and this is why he's going to be the guy going forward, is that he has learned how to work a crowd. Even more so than I think Rollins or Ambrose or majority of the other young guys coming up than anybody else has. He knows how to do those mannerisms that gets the crowd pumped up to get them prepared for his big moves that are coming. He's got that down packed. So I'm going to give him a 7 on psychology with room for improvement.
Good scores so far. Those fans that are on the boo Roman Reigns train right now are kind of panicking. Mic skills, charisma, and character. We talked about that, of course, the last time, so we're not going to run that down too much, but I'm giving him a 6 for both because he is, again, he's learning. He's getting better. He needs to have more character than what he has now, but he still is pulling off the cool, kind of the silent, cool guy kind of type. the Shield was over as hell, and he is part of the reason why. He's not obviously the whole reason why, or else you would be forgetting everything that Ambrose and Rollins contributed towards it. But, one of the reasons why the Shield was able to look so powerful was because Roman Reigns was this big, powerful guy on there. He's getting better at his promos. He's still, not the best on that, and he's not going to be the type of guy, maybe ever, that you can just throw out there with a couple bullet points and have him cut an amazing promo any night. But, he is getting better and all that, so he's on the positive side for me. I'm 6 for both. Who wants to go next?
I'll go then, I guess. Promos, I gave him a 5 at. I think he is very, very average. And that might not necessarily be his fault. It might be the material that they're giving him. They might be heavily scripting him. If we believe the dirt sheets, Vince is writing his stuff personally. That worries me. So, seriously, it's going to be all fart jokes in next week. He had such... Back when he was with the Shield, and he owned, they'd let Seth talk, do, the bulk of the work. Then they'd let Dean Ambrose throw a bit of crazy in there. And then they'd just give Roman one fucking sweet line, and he'd deliver it and knock it out of the park every single time. And they needed to take that and make him a man of few words, and when he did say something, it really meant it. But they haven't, and they're trying to make him too much like John Cena. When he was battling backwards and forwards on the mic with Triple H and saying we're going to have our own Game of Thrones, that was fucking sweet. Now, not so much. And that goes with the same with the character. Ever since the Shield have split up, who is Roman Reigns? What is Roman Reigns? He's a big Samoan in a flak jacket that does a spear. That is the Roman Reigns character.
No. You're forgetting a very important, crucial part of that character.
Okay,
He is related to The Rock.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Wait, did you give your ring skills ones the athleticism and psychology, or did I skip you?
No, I gave it a 7 for athleticism, 6 for psychology, and for my promo and character, it's 5 for each.
Okay, I thought that I might have, so I wanted to backtrack and make sure. Drew, Peyton, what do you guys think for mic skills?
For charisma, I gave him a 6, and I'm mainly going for what he did in the Shield. Just like Wago said, the short and simple but effective stuff that he said really worked for him. The sweet one-liners worked for him as well. The stuff that he's doing now might not be the best, but at the same time, he's got to learn how to do it on his own, so I'll give him a little slack for that. When it comes to his character, I gave him a 6 for that as well, because, he doesn't really have much of a character. The only reason why I'm giving him a 6 instead of a 5 was that in the Shield, he was the big guy that was able to be a big guy. And that's essentially what it is. So, yep, a 6.
And Peyton, mic skills, what do you think?
Oh boy, these last couple months have not been very kind to Roman Reigns on a microphone, have they? The guy has ability there, and when he is allowed to be himself, and when he just delivers a couple quick lines, he's up there with people in the company when he does it right. It's when they try to have him do these long-winded things about Jack and the Beanstalk and all this other shit that he just falls, and he falls far. So I'm going to give him a 5. I want to blame a lot on the writers, and I don't want to be that guy that just blames everything on the writers, and it's the same old shit week in, week out. You know the deal. But I don't think the writers have an understanding of Roman Reigns. And I mean that both as the character and as the guy who's playing Roman Reigns, Joseph, whatever the fuck his name is.
Leah Key or something?
They are not able to play to his strengths and play to what he is, and they're trying to make him something he's not, and that's just uncomfortable for everybody. It's uncomfortable for him. It's uncomfortable the people who have to listen to him. And for that matter, that transitions it right into character, which I actually have to give a 4. This whole keeping the Shield alive thing needs to fucking stop. You got to do something better with this guy. Even if it's just putting him in tights and saying that his gimmick is that he flexes. It's something fucking different than just being, hey, I'm coming out to the Shield's music still and coming through the crowd, which makes no sense for Roman Reigns. Of all 3 people, of any of them to still come through the crowd, it wouldn't be Roman Reigns.
It would be Dean Ambrose.
It would be Dean Ambrose, absolutely. Roman Reigns what is he doing up there? Like, Dean Ambrose, I could get, he'd be hanging out, like, either with people because he's like the lunatic fringe that's like part of the crowd and he's just there, or like maybe he really is the kind of guy.
Probably just eating a hot dog and go, oh shit, my music's playing, I gotta go wrestle.
Or maybe he just got there off of the subway car. Just a strap hanger Dean.
There was one thing that I forgot to add to the Roman Reigns, and I want to know if you guys agree with me. There is something he's not doing right. He's and it's strictly with the long-winded promos. He does not know how to deliver certain lines. He's being very quiet. Like, there's a one line during a promo that he's like meant to put across and say in some type of badass tone.
Yeah.
He flakes on it. That's something he needs to work on.
Yeah, so he just needs to learn when to put the emphasis on the right words. So you are correct about that,
That's exactly
Watson.
That was exactly what I was trying to say. Thank you, Drew.
Yeah, I can't think of any specific examples, but I kind of know what you're talking about. I do remember like certain times feeling a little let down that he didn't, kind of the opposite of what sometimes people do, where they'll realize that at the end of the promo they should have had intensity the entire time. There's actually a Steve Blackman promo, funny enough, that I checked out when I was doing the ratings yesterday, where he basically cuts a promo and he's like, and this has got to end one way or another. He's just kind of like, I guess I'm mad now. Like, it kind of seems a little bit like Roman Reigns does the opposite of that. He gets a little tired or something. So
he's very monotone when he speaks.
Yeah. And you know what? Maybe that should just be a reason why he shouldn't be cutting crazy long promos.
You know what's good about the critiques that we have? They're fixable.
Right.
It's not like, oh, his voice is fucking stupid. It's not like, oh...
Well, Peyton thinks he has the greatest voice in the company because he's Roman Reigns.
Let's not forget how he got Renee Young's panties to drop without any hands even touching them just by saying baby girl.
That's what I'm saying, though. When he says small phrases, it's awesome. He just needs more. Less is more with Roman Reigns.
Yeah. Here, this will be a fun one. Appearance.
I'm horrified to listen to this after fucking Peyton told us about athleticism. So let Mike go first.
Yeah. What do you think? Physique and entrance. Just to keep up the suspense. Tell us about the entrance first. You mentioned about him coming through the entrance.
Wait, don't you usually go first, Tony?
I'm gonna go straight to you. You already said you don't like him coming through the crowd. That has to weigh a big factor into the entrance. But what does he get for you?
I loved it when the Shield did it. In fact, I loved it when Edge and Christian did it. I thought that was so awesome for them to do it, especially like when they did it. How the camera was like, "Where are they? Where are they? Holy shit! Oh, there they are."
They're in the same spot every single time. Yeah. I mean, I get used to it.
Yeah, really.
They really got me again.
I got you guys. We're not actually coming through the stage. Yeah, that sucks. Like, when he did it with the Shield, it was awesome. I especially remember when they did it at WrestleMania 29, and, like, they climbed up on this little thing that was in the middle of the crowd, and Roman Reigns did that, like, lion roar thing where he puts his arms out, and it just looked really triumphant and badass. Now it just doesn't really work, especially because the people are turning on him so much, it makes no sense for him to be coming through the crowd like that. So for entrance, I actually have to give him a 3. They need to do something about that. New music, new way of coming out. Give him some pyro. Like, make this guy seem like he fucking matters.
He does need pyro.
No, when you have pyro, that's when you know you made it.
You know what, I know exactly what he should do. He should come down. He should do, like, that prep thing he does when he's getting ready for the Superman punch where he, like, throws his fist into the ground. And at that point, have a bunch of fucking pyro go off. Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
Yeah, but then you gotta put him in some tights by then. See, it's gonna be so weird.
WWE paid just make you like $1 million.
See, here's the thing. This is gonna be weird when we get to him with like just like being normal and just tights or something like that. We're gonna have to see him without like the vest on him. What if he's just like not in shape at all and the vest was just covering up?
I'm shocked that they haven't made him take that off yet. I know they was teasing it during the Evolution matches when they was beating with the kendo sticks, but
yeah.
I don't know.
With Mike, that was eye candy for him.
So what did you give him for physique, Peyton?
Well, physique, this guy's got to get a 10. I mean, like, this guy's just a fucking stud. He's got muscles upon muscles. He's got that badass sleeve tattoo. Perfect fucking hair. Like, my God. Did anybody, like, dream of having better hair than that guy has? It's like this dark, sleek, black color, perfectly curly. He's got this badass goatee, perfect chin structure. This guy just has it all. He's a 10.
Oh my god.
I need the fucking gay clip from the Mega Powers.
Oh my god. I just
Soundboard.
got Sprite come out of my nose.
You know what the sad thing is, though? I bet he has a really small penis.
That's sad for his wife, not for you.
Right?
What?
Come on, Peyton. Right. Fucking hell, his penis is small.
Fucking hell, we seen the size of his knob. Tiny.
It's turned into some kind of British thing. It's sad for Wade Barrett. I gave him, maybe this is unjustified, but I gave him a 7 for the entrance. Now that you're talking about that, he should get a lower score. And I gave him an 8 for physique. Partially because something that Drew mentioned, he doesn't show off the muscles and stuff like that for the women and Peyton to gawk at. So, you know, for marketing purposes, you look at a John Cena and people are able to see how muscular he is a lot more than Roman Reigns. Not that he's wearing a fucking poncho or something, but but it is, he looks like a top star and all that. He's somebody who could beat the shit out of people, I'm sure. You know, former football player, so he's got the size and all that stuff. So definitely he gets the green high score kind of things for me on those. Drew and Wago, who wants to go next?
Go on, Drew, I'll let you do it.
Okay. So for physique, I gave him an 8. He's in good shape. He's good size, good height. You know, everything's good about him. There's, other than apparently a small penis, what my kid says, he has a pretty much good everything. So for the physique, I gave him an 8. The entrance, I gave him a 6. Whereas it was cool when the Shield went through the crowd. It doesn't work for Roman Reigns for me. Like, it's for the fans of it works, but just for me personally, I'd rather see Dean do it. And I feel like they gave Roman that the most out of all of them because his character is the least developed out of all of them. Either that or they wanted him to have the coolest one out of all of them. So, yep, I gave him a 6 for the entrance. Also, I don't like the original Shield music was good. I don't like the altered one they gave him. It's just kind of meh.
And Wago?
Well, as far as entrance goes, I don't think I can really add anything that Payton and Drew hasn't already, so it's a 6 for me on the entrance. And I definitely can't add any more than what Payton said on the physique. So I give him a 10 on the physique.
So he's still getting some pretty good scores here. Our next set of 2 different categories are the backstage ones, professionalism and marketability. For the most part, I gave him solid scores. I gave him a 7 for professionalism because I do hear that he is a pretty hard worker and stuff like that. There's not like, backstage fights and stuff going on that I keep hearing about or anything like that. But I do have to dock him some points because he has been arrested in the past. And one of my guaranteed things is that if you get an arrest at some point, you can't possibly get a 10 in marketability. Because that's just, one of the rules that I had set up, a long, long time ago with this. So I gave him a 5 because not only does that dock him at least like 2 points, and for those who don't know, he was arrested in 2010 for some kind of mixture of public intoxication and disorderly conduct. Got into a fight when he was drunk, essentially.
So what you're saying is that he got arrested before anyone even knew who he was for something nobody cares about.
Yeah, but it hurts him a little bit. But even more so, it's that he doesn't do a lot of these other things that are factors in the marketability. He has done some like charity kind of things and stuff like that, but he's not showing up on talk shows and stuff. And that's not 100% his fault either, because he hasn't been in a position to do that. The Shield gimmick is not a set of characters that they would have wanted to have in that kind of a position. So I guarantee this is a section that he's going to get a huge boost up even in the next couple of weeks. So that shouldn't be a big factor against him if you're, you don't know much about Roman Reigns and you look at that and you go, well, he must suck for that. No, right now he's in a weird spot. by the end of April, he's going to be in a completely different zone. And that 5 that I gave him is going to be, a 7 or an 8 or something like that. So that's an iffy kind of thing. But how did you guys judge him on this?
I gave him an 8 for professionalism. Like you said, nothing bad about him, and that he's a hard worker, so I gave him an 8. And for marketability, you mentioned that he got in trouble once, and yeah, it was for something that, like what Peyton says, is irrelevant now. It was before anyone knew who he was, but still, it is something to take note of. I didn't dock any points for that, but I just gave him a 6 for marketability just for the purpose of, other than like the Make-A-Wish stuff he does, and now he's probably getting more into the marketing side. At least WWE's pushing him more towards that. He'll get a bump in that in the upcoming weeks, especially towards WrestleMania, mainly because he'll be in the main event. So him and Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar is one of the worst people to have do an interview with, especially on a talk show. So he was like promoting a book once on Jimmy Fallon, and it was one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. So hopefully Roman Reigns could do better than that.
I'm just going to say this. It depends who's interviewing Brock Lesnar, because I watch a lot of his MMA interviews. If you can't get a good interview out of Brock Lesnar, it's because you're not asking the right questions.
Isn't Brock Lesnar the guy who, on an event sponsored by Bud Light, said that he's going to go home, drink Coors Light, and fuck his wife?
Yes, because Coors Light wouldn't. He said I'm going to go home and drink a Coors Light because Bud won't pay me any money.
So yeah, there you go. Lesnar does not rank high on marketability.
I'm just saying, if you can't get a good interview out the guy, you're a shitty interviewer.
What about
so
you?
I give him a 6 for marketability. Don't know if I said that.
What about you?
Brock Lesnar more. It's more fun. As far as professionalism goes, I've not heard anything negative, and from what I know, he's a hard worker, so I think a 7's pretty fair at this point. Marketability, I think he's over enough where you can put him in the public's eye, but it's not going to be your first option if you've got a John Cena or a Randy Orton available. But that'll come in time. So I give him a 7. He's usable, and he's not a PR disaster by any means, but he's not your first choice.
Peyton?
For professionalism, I'm actually give him an 8. This guy is a total company guy. He is very much the next John Cena. That means that he'll do anything that any of the higher ups in WWE ask him to. They ask him to eat shit. He'll fucking smile and chomp on that shit as hard as he fucking can. And he'll eat it like nobody fucking else in the company could. So this guy is in it for the long haul. He'll do whatever they ask him to. He'll go see sick kids. He'll fucking talk to press people. He'll flex his muscles.
Daddy, I wanted John Cena.
Well, you got Roman Reigns. Too bad, kid. So until I hear different, I'm going to think that he is probably one of the best people to have as an employee for them. So good for them. Marketability, I have to give him a lot better than what you did, Tony. I'm shocked you gave him so low. Again, this guy's got the look. He's got the heritage.
I thought you were saying he's got that hair.
No, they just bring him on a talk show, and you could ask him a question about The Rock. Like, that's huge for them to say. And in general, I mean, you could put this guy around with appearances with The Rock. And not just at the Royal Rumble, but like, let's say they're going on Jimmy Fallon. As we're going into WrestleMania, Rock could be promoting a movie and Roman could be on there promoting WrestleMania together, and then they could like be shooting the shit and having fun. Because I'm sure those guys have good chemistry as family. They've grown up together in a sense. So I have to give him a little bit more than that. I'm going to give him a 7. He's got room to go. He's got a lot of things he hasn't done yet. He hasn't walked the red carpet or anything like that. But I think he's going to do fine when he gets there, and I still think there's room to grow after that.
That leads us into the final two, popularity and credibility on the crowd reaction side of things. Popularity, I'm giving him a 7 because he's not as high as he was before, but I think that's going to change around. Credibility, an 8, and that's going to go up quite a bit once he beats Brock Lesnar for the title. So right now, I take him as a believable challenger for that top spot, and somebody that I think is more than a believable person that could beat the one who beat the one with the streak, which is saying a lot. I can't quite give him a 9 or a 10 yet, but that's going to change really soon. So 8 and a 7 for me, 2 more high points, and that actually brings me to a total score of 67 out of 100. We'll talk about that when we go around here. pretty good score. That's in the positives. That's a passing grade by far for me. When you consider people that have had storied careers longer than him and stuff like that, ends up giving him pretty good credibility, pretty good popularity score, and pretty good total score. Wago, what do you got for popularity and credibility and total score too?
For popularity, I have 7. And that's just because the guy's over and he's hitting his stride and becoming a main eventer, but he's not there. Like, he's not cemented yet. Probably after WrestleMania, he would have already gone up to an 8 or 9. More likely an 8. And in a few years' time, he'll reach that 9 or 10 status. Credibility, I've actually given him the full score out of 10. 10 out of 10. They built him up so strongly. They essentially had him win last year's Rumble outside of Batista, and he won again this year. There's not one guy in the company I believe can beat him, and there's not one guy in the company I believe he can't beat. They've done a perfect job. The guy is legit. And with that, it brings me to an even 70 out of 10.
Very good. Drew or Peyton, who wants to go next and who wants to go last?
Guess who's going last? This guy. All right, I guess I'm going. Popularity, if this was a little bit ago, I would have given higher. But because I had the pleasure of being at the Royal Rumble in Philadelphia, I watched that crowd turn against this guy.
It was a Philly
so
crowd, though.
It was, but you still have to count that. That was supposed to be a big moment for him. That was supposed to be his night, and he was booed out of the building.
You want to know what their mistake was?
Mm.
It was in fucking Philly, a terrible place for that.
Do you think, if they could, tell the future, they would have had Roman just beat Batista that year?
No. They still wouldn't have. It wouldn't have made sense.
I think they should have.
He would have been fucking sweet.
Even aside from that, though, I mean, you see how much people, even outside of Philly, turned on me with that whole canceled WWE Network hashtag, which really meant fucking nothing. But, I mean, people were still upset. Our own Sean Walker quit doing our podcast live on the air the following night because of it. People were pissed. So I think that hurts his popularity a little bit. So I'm going to have to give him a 6. I think he'll rebound, and I think he'll get himself back up there. But as of February 5th, 2015, I have to give it a 6. For credibility, I would have given him a 10 because the guy has been so well protected. He set the record for eliminations at the Rumble last year, won it this year, is going into the main event of WrestleMania. But you know what fucked it up? This past Monday on Raw, when Triple H pretty much said, yeah, you won the Royal Rumble, it shouldn't really count. Fuck you. You're going to have to wrestle this match to get your main event spot. And Roman was just like, okay. Fucking shit. So I'm giving him
what? That just means that he doesn't care. He'll do what he has to do, and he'll win anyways.
No, that was fucking stupid. I'm giving him an 8, and he'll again. This is something I think he'll recover back up if he goes into Mania, gets a big victory. Then it's a solid 10. But at this point,
how does
what you got to appreciate that he's had a lot of shit on his plate, all dumped at once. Mm-hmm. I think he'll come out smelling like roses in the end, though.
So what's your final score, Peyton?
My final score, when I add that all together, is a 68.
And Drew, round us out here.
For popularity, I gave him a 7. It would have been an 8, but, I kind of did. Just the stuff leading up to the Rumble, a lot of fans turning on him, and the Rumble incident itself, I think that deserves bump it down at least 1 point. I think the fans will go back for him eventually. They're just, whenever you decide to push someone, everyone complains. I mean, when Dolph Ziggler started getting pushed, everyone complained then. Daniel Bryan people complaining about him sometimes. Not a lot, but sometimes. So it's whenever you push someone, everyone complains. And I think this is just one of those incidents because he's getting a big push. So he gets a 7. Credibility, I give him a 9. The only reason why he doesn't have a 10 is that he isn't a heavyweight champion yet. So he'll be a 10 around Mania if he wins the title. So that rounds out my score to a solid 69.
I'm surprised Peyton to give him that. So Roman Reigns gets a higher score than Steve Blackman, but I think we all saw that one coming. But Blackman didn't do that bad, so credit to both guys.
Well, the funny thing is, I think what did I give? 64 for.
You gave him pretty close.
Yeah, a 6-point difference. And And with that said, though, I gave Roman the highest score out of any of us.
Yeah, you did. That's true. So you gave Blackman the highest score too, right?
You also gave Blackman the highest score. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, Blackman deserves more than what you gave him.
That is what we got to say for the Superstar Scores editions. We have one more thing left to do in this episode. This is a long episode, but we're just about the end here. We got to talk about the Fantasy League. So we will be right back with part 6. Is that what we're on? I don't know. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Whatever we're on. Stay tuned, everybody.